Okay, I think everything looks kind of live-ish, so I'll assume we're live. I'll assume that you can hear my audio okay. Is this audio coming in okay? Because I've made some changes, so I'm going to need some feedback on the audio quality. Everything sounded okay. How you, Robert? And so South, how you doing? Mustafa Barrow, 462904. Good evening. So, the audio okay, guys, is it? Or do I need to make a better adjustment? So, just let me know. And running a little bit blind here this evening because, um, as most of you probably, well, I guess first things first. It doesn't appear that Jason will be joining us tonight. Look, I didn't hear from him since Tuesday evening. Hello, Kendo. How you, Tony? So, since Tuesday, I haven't heard from Jason, but look, no news is probably good news. I mean, I got a bit of a shock there last Tuesday. Thanks, James Owens. Yeah. I'll tell you about the audio in a few minutes because I do want to discuss it a bit. But I was struck by how jaded Jason looked Tuesday night. You know, when he came in and you could see by him, it was like some alien species came down and put a little helmet on his head and sucked all the energy out of him. Because and I can relate to that big time. You know, I've had bouts with a couple of nasty bugs over the course of my life, and it's you know when somebody has been smacked in the face and put down like really hard, like it's no joke. Like, and I know he brightened up a little bit as he was on the show, like, you know, so he did brighten up a little bit. So I'm pretty sure he's on the mend, and it'll just take him a little bit of time. I think possibly he's been overdoing it just a little bit, in my personal opinion, taking too much on. So, but I'm not going to say fuck all about that because that's that's a story for someone else to tell. But I think that the hard doing he's getting it's probably an indicator that he needs to sort of like keep a little bit in reserve for yourself, and you can't go giving all your energy away just like that because you get stressed out. You know, stress, and there's a relationship between stress levels and your health. You know, I've noticed that over the years. Like, and if you're in a lighter, happier mood, you're kind of more likely to be better resistant to bugs and the like. So I thank fair play to James Owens anyway. He complimented. He said the audio was okay. I see Mascara is in the chat. Hi, Mascara. Denny is in. Hi, Denny. And Bandit Busta is in the house. Excellent. Good to see a few people here anyway. I'm not going to be going backwards and forwards to see if there's anybody, how many's on the site. But fair play to you for joining in. So no Jason, but I'm pretty sure he'll be on the mend now. I'm pretty sure. It's been when you get a knockout like that, it can take weeks sometimes. Sometimes I remember getting knocked out like that once, and I was unconscious for 2 weeks. I was young at the time, but I was very, very run down, and it all came to a head, and I ended up like with a bout of pleurisy and nearly died from it, and that's. So it's all related, like, you know, your stress levels, your sleep levels, your sleep patterns, and how much energy you're putting out, like, and are you getting enough downtime and rest time for yourself? Because I think it's a very, very important part of keeping sane in this world. You know, you just need to slow down and focus on yourself quite a bit as well too, and because like it's easy to get stressed out, like with all the bullshit going on in the world, and you know it's and it's all doomed no matter where you look. You know, so to escape that, you kind of have to turn shit off and just focus on your own well-being. Sometimes that might mean just going out and doing something, or going for a walk, or just something. Just do it keep it for yourself. A walk in a forest, go out like uni and start petting all the little birdies, and so I suppose that's how you deal with stress. I don't really have too much of a stress problem anymore, because I try not to get aggravated. Although it doesn't always work, but it helps to be aware that you're getting aggravated, or if a certain situation is just not suiting, it's just causing you extra stress that you don't need really. So my case, when I was sick, like with the pleurisy, it was like I was traveling long journeys to work and back again, and not getting proper sleep, and probably not eating properly as well too. And it got run down. And when it hit me like a ton of bricks, knocked me out like Jason there the other night, only much worse. I was flat on my back for nearly 2 whole weeks, and thus I was on the verge of death there. I think I was only young at the time, so. But anyway, I got through that, like, thankfully. Although, like, when you're down and you're very, very ill, you're kind of like, you're not always fully aware of what's going on around. It's and if you're taking medications, you can be sometimes in a. So I don't really. Probably more happened in that 2 weeks than I remember. Like, but I think for the most part of it, I was on my back. Hello, Paula. I'll just scroll back a little bit here, see if I miss anybody from the chat. Uni's in. Kendo got so sad to say, oh shit, I forgot the big man, Jimmy. I assume you're talking about our boy Jay. Let's see anybody else make it in. Paula's given a virtual hug. Thanks, Paula. Much needed. Uni's saying, I'm going to pet your little birdie in a second. Okay, I don't know if we'll be worried about that now. A little birdie near our uni. God knows what it might do to it. Might start talking to it. Jenny's saying he's only got the flu, for fuck's sake. Jimmy, relax. Relax. Fuck you, Denny. If I get any more relaxed, I'll just come to a full stop. So, I don't know what you're on about. You should take a chill pill sometimes, I think. And no, I don't think it's the flu. His lovely wife tested positive. She got the test. Jason didn't bother, so she tested positive. So look, it's safe to assume he's got whatever the rest of them got. And because he was in a hospital as well too, it's hospitals can be sometimes very, very enclosed places. Like, with it's my understanding of what the hospitals are like here in Ireland. Anyway, it can be very, very stuffy. Like, excellent breeding grounds for getting huge concentrations of particular germs in one location and giving somebody a massive dose of something. That's probably what's happened to them. They got a massive dose of whatever is doing the rounds. So, and call it the flu if you want. And I don't give a shit anymore. I'm at the stage where I just do not give a flying fcuk about it. No, that's the truth. Look, so call it flu. I don't care. Couldn't care less, man. You can call it fucking, I don't know, anything you like. So what's on your mind, peeps? I didn't do a whole lot now for tonight, just I think the main question I have for you guys is, I've made a change in the audio, and can you hear it? Can you hear that change? You normally notice it only when I'm speaking, like it's in relation to a background hiss. Is that hiss, like, is it better? I know it's not gone, but is that hiss toned down a bit so that it's not so friggin' annoying? Because yeah, it will be, but it should be toned down by now. I found a way to actually soften it. So I've been doing some work the last couple of days, so it is like still a bit hissy. Robert, I would take a bit hissy over very hissy, like, because I've been paying attention. I've seen your comment on the last show. You obviously like went back and watched it afterwards, like. Yeah, Paul is saying it's toned down a bit. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's actually that hiss is toned down a little bit, so that it's not so intrusive. It's been annoying, like, because I'll have to get a new computer. I think that's the ultimate solution. I'll just have to get a new computer. This machine is like, it's not really built for this type of work. It was built as a gaming station. Not for me now. I'm not into games or anything like that. Like, but it was a gamer's sort of workstation. So it's heavy on fans. It's heavy on power. And what's happening is, like, I thought it was like noise coming off the computer and coming into the mic, but it's not. It's actually down deeper. It's right on a bloody hardware level, which makes it kind of really tricky to solve. Because you can't, like, how would you do that? Onboard sound. So I have a couple of ideas though. Anyway, on I might try. I think I might have some old sound cards. Yeah, I think I might have some old sound cards. Maybe a higher quality sound card might actually help. Assuming I've still got a place to plug it in on the board. So, but yeah, just to give you an idea, like, about um, what was it doing? Yeah, have to remember, press the right buttons. Please make sure you press the right buttons. So if I go share screen, mm-hmm. uh, just go entire screen. Crazy. But anyway, where's my sound system? Here it is here. This is all the plugins I have to use to try and clean this sound up. It's a bit ridiculous, really. Like, I've got one, two. I've got that's no, that's for the standard audio. I've got a stereo gate, a de-esser, a calf reverb, a parametric EQ, and one high pass filter and one low pass filter. And it's still, and the compressor. I'm putting the compressor in today, so I'm hoping that I might be able to soften it a little bit more with the compressor at some stage. Like, but that's ridiculous. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plugins just for the microphone. It's a bit fucking crazy, man. So, um, so this is the life of somebody who works on a open source system who's trying to do shit like this. And you have to. Um, there's a lot of software involved. Put it that way. A lot of software goes together and it's always been problematic, like, doing uh, online stuff on a Linux system. Like, it used to be very, very tricky, but it's gotten a lot easier now. But like, when you have niggling little problems, like, for example, static electricity that's like feeding into sound cards, interacting on board, and just very little you can actually do about that, except maybe mask it as best as possible until a better solution comes. So I just want to take a moment just to apologize for the audio, and just bear with me. Like, I'll get I'll find some sort of a solution. If that means, like, getting a new computer, so be it. Like, should be fun. I probably could do it a new computer anyway, because this one is not going to live forever. Yeah, I'm just watching here. That's right. We have a guest calling in later on. We have Robert going to be coming on for the second hour or so, and we'll get to catch up with him and see how he's doing. And so that's a hint now to sort of like push on a little bit. So we've covered Jason, we've covered the housekeeping, we've talked about the sound issues and working on it, and who knows? You never know. Jay might pop in at some stage this evening. I wouldn't be surprised. But so, what's been going on in this crazy world? Lots of really crazy espionage stuff. It's like lots and lots of espionage going on at the moment, and I think it's 100% clear. War has been declared on Europe, or maybe not necessarily Europe, but Germany, probably. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a little while too. So, lots of stories to cover. I got an update, I think, on that. What was that? I think I was telling you last week about that little girl, right? This little Ukrainian girl. She got stabbed in County Clare last week. Turned out we got a bit more information out this week. That little girl was actually stabbed 70 fucking times. 70 times. Now that is frenzied. Absolutely frenzied. Now, I was trying to get a bit more information about it, like, but they're very, very sketchy with the amount of what information they're letting out on that particular case. But this mother and daughter were found unconscious. Best I know, the little girl, 8 years old, is in critical condition. We know that there's a lot of involvement in the case. I don't think the mother is, I'm not sure about the mother. She was found unconscious, is all I've got, unconscious. So we've got a kid stabbed 70 fucking times. They live in a direct provision centre in County Clare. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what a direct provision centre is, it's like when you have an influx of migrants or refugees coming from far off lands, and there's clear issues with housing in this country. We have a severe shortage of housing. It's always been, well, it's not that it's always been, there is clearly enough houses in the country, but like available for the general public, like a lot of people will have 2 and 3 homes, like, you know, so, and plus the way it's like, that's the way it works, like, so, the direct provision centres are kind of like a holding area where you keep the refugees. They give them something like 30 quid a week. They cook on site. Maybe their food is provided for them, or usually a shared accommodation. With I wouldn't like to speculate because each location will be unique depending on the size of the direct provision centre. But the fact that this is going on inside a direct provision centre, that's crazy. And as to who done what, we don't know yet. So we'll just have to sit tight and hopefully, like, hopefully, like, it's not the. Then again, it doesn't matter who the fuck done it. Like, but if it was the mother, oh shit, fuck. Anyway, these direct provision centres, not a good place to get stuck in. Like, and I've been seeing stories too for a number of months now regarding Ukrainian refugees, like, ending up in places in Sweden, like, and they're being discriminated against by the Muslims. They're in these direct provision centres, and a lot of them are quite fearful for themselves. They're in these centres, so, you know, direct provision centres are not a solution for mothers and children. And very, very dangerous, you know, because you don't know who you're putting together, really. Like, there's no way you could be putting mass murderers together, like, with the most vulnerable in society, you know. So it's fraught full with dangers, these provision centres. And I think you have something similar in England too, like in the hotels and stuff. I think I was watching Farage doing a few rounds of hotels that only housed immigrants, basically. So. So I know the very, very same thing's happening over in England, like it has been for some time now. So, but anyway, it's happening in all the Western world. It's happening in America with their open borders as well too. So, um, and they don't know how many people have crossed that border. They think millions, millions and millions, possibly up on 3 million. So that's a lot. That's a lot to be flooding into a country which is already at its knees. It's going to lead for some chaotic times, I think. What's been going on in the chat? Not a huge amount. So, what did I have on now for this week? I have a few stories that I do want to cover. Not much. I didn't go overboard this week because like I got stuck in there about 3 days ago, like doing the trying to deal with that hiss issue. So and so I didn't get much time to devote to news, and I'm on a bit of a timeout from the news as well too. Like there's an awful lot going on. It's almost too much. Like and one thing that I will say though is a lot of the channels that I follow a wide variety of channels with different perspectives and different views. I try to keep it as balanced as possible. Like, but I'm just seeing an awful lot of propaganda coming into what I thought like were once trusted news sources. I'll put it that way. Like, I'll still follow them. Like, but I'm just getting I'm getting very aware that like even the alt media is now being propagandized. It just seems like they're all selling either one side or the other story. Like, and it's like for an example, like you've got all these, these sites that you would say that were pro-Russian, and it's like if you follow them for long enough, you'll hear how they speak and how they sort of glorify Russia, and they kind of like denigrate the West for you've got that sort of a lean, but as of late, I've been noticing that lean become kind of very, very steep, like, and very, very. Um, I don't know. It's almost like they've been co-opted. It's like maybe MI5 or Mossad or the Russian version of whatever the Chinese has gotten hold of them and said, right now, we don't you think you should be promoting more this side, a more pro-Russian side. It just seems like that the alt media is tearing itself apart. Like it's not just Ukraine. It's like I'm looking at the. I'm also looking at the. Um, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought here now. But um, so I've been looking at the war side of things, and that for sure is definitely polarized. And there was another type of media that I do keep a close eye on. I just can't think of it. It's gone. It's gone from my head, man. Fuck it, man. Knew I shouldn't have smoked that spliff before coming on. But anyway, hiya, Stewie. So Uni is saying that Russia is the uh, Russia is the one in the right. So what's the issue? Oops. I don't know. I don't know what you're on about, Uni. What's the issue? What issue? What issue are you on about? I don't know. He's on one. So let's have a look and see about one or two of these stories that I managed to dig up now this evening. Yeah, it was that one about a whale stranding. Like there was 230 whales stranded on a Tasmanian beach. This is kind of an interesting story actually, and trying to find a way to share it as well too. With a window capture properties. Go. So more than 200 whales were found stranded on a remote beach on the west coast of Tasmania, Australia. Half of the pod thought to be pilot whales are believed to still be alive. So it is unclear what caused the whales to beach on the sand flat at the entrance to Macquarie Harbour, the same remote location where Australia's worst stranding occurred 2 years ago. And it comes on the day after separate mass strandings in North Tasmania. So the day before there was another mass stranding with 14 young sperm whales found in the Bass Strait. Experts were planning to rescue the 200. They were planning to rescue them, but obviously problems with the site. It's far away out of sight. So didn't hear any more about what happened to these whales, but it's pretty clear to me anyway. It's like a lot of these mass strandings, and beaches, they have been attributed to sonar activity, underground subs or underwater subs, and I would imagine, with the way, with the heightened tensions going on, between the various parties, we have because in the background there is that China, Taiwan thing simmering in the background, and Australia are arming up as well too. They're getting extra submarines as well, to nuclear subs from America now. I don't think they're getting them all just like that. I think it's going to take a good few years for those subs to put clearly there's increased submarine activity in those areas, and they're obviously working on something got to do with radio waves. Hell no, I never, over the years I've been following this, following mass strandings, and there was a lot of speculation always about the possibility that a lot of these strandings are due to sonar activity, created by a lot of these powerful communication systems which are on board these wartime submarines. It's certainly plausible. I'll try and keep track on the chat as well too. So I'll scroll back a little bit there too. So, but sonar activity. I think it's be safe to say that there's possibly, with all those strandings all in the last 2 years, because they mentioned 3 really large substantial strandings, there's obviously something very, very interesting going on below the waters in those particular areas. And it wouldn't surprise me that there's a lot of NATO, China activity there in those seas. And I'm not sure who else would be. Possibly Russia. Maybe they'd have some. Yeah, for sure. Russia must have some submarines in those locations as well too. It's interesting to watch the battlefield as it forms. Ukraine just being one small part of it, but the other key component is also there in Albania, and then you've got the Taiwan Strait, which is nobody knows what's going to happen there. I think there's everybody's sort of sitting, waiting, holding their breaths, wondering to see how and when. A lot of speculation about when that's going to happen, and feck knows. As some people were saying recently, perhaps they're waiting for Russia to really do something, because clearly something's going to break. Because today, I don't know whether you've been following what's been going on in Russia. Basically, there was a very, very big meeting today, and a signing of treaties between the regions of Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donbass, and Lugansk. The leaders of all those countries signed a treaty with each other, to join the Russian Federation, and Putin was openly calling on the People's Republic of Luhansk and People's Republic of Donetsk, and so there's interesting things happening down there. So, but the curious thing about these about all these treaties, Russia doesn't totally control all of Donbass. I think it does hold full control over Lugansk, but I think there's skirmishes going on along the border there, so it's I won't say for certain until I know more. But and certainly not all of Donbass is under Russian control just yet, because like there's still quite a lot of activity on the outskirts of Donetsk city, in around the area of Avdiivka. So that's where the Ukrainian contingent are. They're bunkered in there, like, and they're bunkered in really strongly. Like, nobody's been able to shift them like since it's months and months and months. Like, they can't shift them out there. So they're going nowhere at the moment unless something changes on the front line. But because now we have Ukrainian soldiers on the Kherson region and the Donbass, and because they're not fully under Russian control, I think the war continues. I think this is all just this treaty today, just all kind of a show. It's a bit of a show, I think. All kind of like very, very well choreographed. It smells of Russian propaganda, like, and unity. So, but then again, I'm not saying Russia's the bad guy here. It's, we still don't know who the good and the bad guys are. It's certainly getting quite interesting, and especially with that pipeline the other day, the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2, they both took a hit. I thought it was just the Nord Stream 1, but no, they've both taken a hit. So, oh yeah, I do have a story about that. Actually, I do have a story about that story. But before I just read that story, it was suggested in Bloomberg, right, I think yesterday, that because of the breach in the pipe, it's completely open. That once the pressure gets relieved inside the pipes and all the gas has escaped, the seawater will then come in and start corroding the pipes from the inside. So this event could possibly take out both of those pipelines completely and totally, and make them a lost cause, basically. So that's serious business now. This is like, they're getting serious. So I think I will. I'll try and read that story that I got. Like, where is he gone? Where is he gone? This is here. Germany and EU have been handed over declaration of war. Yeah, by Pepe Escobar. Now it's kind of longish, so, but I've only highlighted a few little key points out of it. So, the sabotage of the Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 pipelines in the Baltic Sea has ominously propelled disaster capitalism to a whole new toxic level. The episode of hybrid industrial commercial war in the form of a terror attack against energy infrastructure in international waters signals the absolute collapse of international law, drowned by our way, or the highway, rules-based order. The attack on both of these pipelines consisted of multiple explosive charges detonated in separate branches close to the Danish island of Bornholm. But and he says here, like, it's in international waters, basically. That was a sophisticated operation carried out in stealth in the shallow depth of the Danish Straits that would, in principle, rule out submarines. Ships entering the Baltic are limited to a draft of 15 meters. For prospective invisible vessels, these could only loiter around with permission from Copenhagen, as the water around Bornholm is crammed with sensors reflecting fear of incursion by Russian submarines. Interesting. So it's a well-watched area, completely well-watched. Sensors everywhere. Fascinating. Um, so it carries on to say the pressure on the pipelines dropped exponentially. The props are now filled with seawater. The pipes on both the NS and NS2 can be repaired, of course, but hardly before the arrival of general winter. The question is whether Gazprom, already focused on several hefty Eurasian customers, would bother, especially considering the Gazprom vessels could be exposed to a possible NATO naval attack in the Baltic. What's the likelihood of that happening? Who knows? Yeah, possibly. As it stands, a strategic irreversibility is already self-evident. The population of several EU nations will pay a tremendous price and suffer serious consequences derived from this attack, short, medium, and long. So he goes on to say now about it getting more curious. I like the way he says it. It gets curiouser, and curiouser. Is curiouser even a word? I don't know. When we know that simultaneously to the sabotage, the Baltic pipeline from Norway to Poland was partially opened. So basically, there was a pipeline that coming down. I think was it coming from Norway to Poland, and it was partially opened. So just on the same day as the explosion, taking out the Nord Stream pipelines. So a new gas supplier corridor servicing the Danish and Polish markets. Goes on to say, actually a minor affair considering months ago their sponsors were in trouble finding gas, and now it will be even harder with much higher costs. NS2 has already been attacked in the open all along its construction back in February. Now, I didn't know this now. Polish ships actively tried to prevent the Fortuna pipelaying vessel from finishing NSA. The pipes were being laid south of, you guessed it, Bornholm. So, coincidences? I don't know. Nothing. There's no coincidences. So, after a bit now, so this brings us on to a key question of which Western intel apparatus designed the sabotage. Prime candidates are, of course, CIA and MI6, with Poland set up as a fall guy and Denmark playing a very dodgy part. It's impossible that Copenhagen was not at least briefed on the intel. The crucial vector is that we may be facing the case of EU-NATO member involved in an act of sabotage against a number one EU-NATO economy. That's a casus belli. I assume that's a Latin term. Outside casus belli. Haven't heard that one. Outside of the appalling mediocrity and cowardice of the current administration in Berlin, it's clear that BND, German intel, as well as German Navy and informed industrialists, sooner or later will do the math. So there's a good bit in this article, you know. Goes on, it gets worse. There were no holds barred anymore on the pipeline's terror front. Russia will be on the red alert, not only for Turk Stream, but also Power of Siberia. Same for the Chinese and their maze of pipelines arriving in Xinjiang. Whatever the methodology and the actors who were in the loop, this is payback in advance for the inevitable collective West defeat in Ukraine. And a crude warning to the global South that they will do it again. Yet action always breeds reaction from now on. Funny things could also happen to the US-UK pipelines in international waters. I'll go down. I'll skip on down because this is quite a lot. You know, I didn't realise there was this much in it. Like, you know, but obviously I should bloody know. But so continues on here. All the devils are here. Now it's painfully clear that imperial velvet gloves are off when it comes to the vassals. EU independence verboten. Cooperation with China verboten. independent trade connectivity with Asia verboten. The only place for the EU is to be economically subjugated to the US, a tawdry remake of 1945 to 1955 with a perverse neoliberal twist. We will own your industrial capacity and you will have nothing. The sabotage of NS and NS2 is inbuilt in the imperial wet dream of breaking up the Eurasian landmass. I've been speaking about this a bit, like as of late, this Mackinder word stuff. So it's curious he brings this up. So the imperial wet dream of breaking up the Eurasian landmass into 1,000 pieces to prevent the trans-Eurasian consolidation between Germany, representing the EU, Russia and China, 50 trillion GDP based on purchasing power parity. And so we must go back to the Mackinder. Control the Eurasian landmass constitutes control of the world. American elites and their Trojan horses across Europe will do whatever it takes not to give up their control. And I think he is 100% right there. That's I've been thinking this for a long time, that America are not going to be got out of there that easily. So anyway, I'll stop there. I have his worn out. He's worn out with a long article. Poor Uni will have popped the marble now at this stage with all this reading. So there's the Mackinder World Island again. And do you know what? I'm very, very fond of the Durand. But lately I'm starting to have a couple of issues with them. But that's besides the point. I first started to ask a few questions about them. Like when somebody asked a question, you know, they have super chats and stuff like that. You know, one of their people seem to make a lot of money on these super chats. Like it's crazy. So a question that came out from one of the viewers of this particular Durand show asked the question: could it be that this battle for Ukraine would be part of the Mackinder thesis and the and the breakup of the or the joining together of the Eurasian land masses, like, you know, but whoever is controlling Central Europe there will in effect control the world in essence. So I think he's correct. I think it's starting to look like the USA are not going to leave Ukraine that easily. They're digging their heels in. Europe are stay there. They're not going to budge now. It looks to me like it's Germany is getting it. What have Germany been up to behind the scenes? Have they been very, very naughty boys and girls? I wonder would Dinny know the answer? Dinny might know the answer to that question. Are the Germans, do you know what? Have they been naughty? And now an external force, an internal force, a NATO country attacks another NATO country. Were Germany planning on something that wouldn't be in the interests of America? It does raise the question. It does raise the question because Germany seems to be central to this. I mean, it was Germany. They didn't want to supply the tanks and stuff to Ukraine. They were against it. Like, so curious that the pipeline would go up now. And are the Germans now going to take that and play ball? I think we'll find out. I'm pretty sure we'll find out at some stage. So anyway, I'll check in on the chat a little bit. I fear that you've gone way ahead of me. My scroll wheel is working tonight. Hi, Spanish. I didn't say hello to you earlier. I'll say hello to Stewie. I think I said hello to Stewie. Yeah. Everybody's saying hello. So that's the one thing that's it about this. You know, no matter who comes in, everybody says hello to them. So I'm starting to get used to this chat here. So you've always got this stage where somebody will join in and then everybody in the chat will say hello to them, and then the person just joined will say hello to everybody back. It's kind of like, but it's good. Well, I'll remember that now. Uni wants to pet a whale. Don't we all? Don't we all? I think probably Uni probably likes hugging trees as well. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. Paul is saying, Uni, go swim in the sea. It's wonderful. Yeah, you should try that. I doubt you've ever tried it. Kendo's eating shark with a bit of lemon juice and a flick of salt. Interesting. The Irish have been at war for 900 years. Dennis is saying, yeah, yeah. Anyway, not at war now. Most of them, anyway. He's been subjugated. The fluoride has done its job on Paddy. Denny, I think. Uni is saying the truth about those pipelines is that they were just really long penises and they exploded because they came. Yeah, the adolescents have taken over the asylum. I'm not sure I'm happy about this. Stu, you're saying I hope both Russia and Ukraine are being well rewarded for their blood theatre, while they shaft the collective West with hyperinflation. I'm not so sure I would blame the hyperinflation on Russia, to be honest, Stewie. I think the hyperinflation was already baked in. It's been baked in for a long time, and this is why we're in the situation we're in now. It's like everybody's waiting for this collapse, and this collapse is coming. It's definitely baked in. Whether it comes now or it comes later, it's got to give, because like you just can't be just print money up and expect people to just accept it as like based on something real. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's and this debt issue appears to be sort of like creeping in for 30 years, as far as I can make out, like from all the people I've listened to talking about it. Like, it's been 30 since the 1970s, basically, put it that way. So that's about 50 years. So, and that's when they made this decision. They went off the gold back. I think they went off the gold back, and thus we have this mess that we got today. And do you know what? They should let it crash. Let it fucking crash. It we'd be much better off. We'd be much better off. What they're doing at the moment, like, is like it all works with bailouts, and what's next? Bail-ins, like as happened in Cyprus, like where anybody who has savings in the banks just get crushed and get robbed, in broad daylight. It's like being pickpocketed in broad daylight, and you can't. Most of your funds get stolen, and you get left with a small pittance then, and plus with a destroyed currency and inflation to go along with it, the loss, So I'm not sure how long they're going to keep trying to hold this thing up. I don't know. It's like, it's nuts. Like, but the hyperinflation was already baked in, I'm afraid. Has been for a long time, and it should have really collapsed proper back in 2008, but they didn't allow it to happen. That it was done back then. Like, they should have just let it collapse, and we would have been out of it by now. I think, we would have found a solution. But anyway, it's just going to make it more painful when it really does happen. So anyway, hopefully somebody has a plan on what's next. It's I don't know whether they go to digital currencies. It's possible, I suppose. It's possible. Tony's lurking tonight. He just broke cover there, I think, for broke cover for a few minutes just to let everybody know that you're still lurking. That's cool. Of course, Dinny, you've been to Northern Bornholm. Of course, you've been to Bornholm. I just what a better thing to do would be to like try to name some of the places you haven't been with. So just catching up with the chat here, folks. Try not to say the word GUIS because I believe people get triggered by it. Mascara is saying something interesting there. All the large diameter underground gas pipes are plastic, which should be capable of handling exterior water pressure to the best of my knowledge. Salt water does very little to that type of plastic. Oh, I don't know what type of plastic. I'd imagine they wouldn't have used plastic. Hmm? You see, it's like the pressure is not the water outside, but the pressure would be inside the pipe. It'd be the gas that's under the pressure, like not the seawater they're worried about. Although I'd be pretty sure that they'd still have to do balancing and stuff. Like you'd have to have a pipe with a certain diameter. Would they be metal? Would they use metal for undersea pipes? I don't know. Maybe you might know, Mascara. Dinny, what's Dinny saying? Germany is booming. Most Germans look at the news and say, "Yeah, what the fuck they are talking about?" Yeah, yeah, I know, Denny. It's the same everywhere in Europe. It's yeah, I know what you're saying. But I'm just watching. It's going to be a slow descent. Like I think last week I was looking at. Maybe we should have another look at the euro and see what the euro is doing against the dollar now. See what Yahoo Finance is going to give me. It's not the best of sites, really, but it's always the first one that comes up, and it's a cheap, tacky sort of. Um, so there we go. So down 0.0018. I want to see if it's still dropping overall, and it would appear so. It would appear so. It looks like slowly descending spiral. It's not making any real gains. It's not even showing any signs that it's going to try to even get itself out of trouble. It's just like you can see it like the way it's just dropping down, dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. This all started back in the 4th of the 11th, 2021. So yeah, 4th of the 11th. Yeah. So that was November. What happened in November? That was close to around the elections in America. Yeah, exactly. That was close to elections in America around that date. Just a little bit short of it. So that's curious. So the euro is still dropping like a stone. Crazy. And I think also the very, very same things happening in England at the moment. And I know things are not like totally out of control just yet, like, but I'm noticing it. I'm noticing that everything I'm buying now, it's like it's a quite a significant increase. Everything. It's not enough to break the bank, but you can see. I could see a trend. I could see a trend in the cost of buying gas, foodstuffs. Like you look at the price of breads and things like that, and a lot of these commodities are really getting expensive. Like they've increased in price by a fair factor. Could be talking about maybe 40%, maybe 40%, and and no sign of it going to stop. And I can't see when it's going to stop. But like, who knows? Who knows? It could be, maybe they already have a solution. They could well be just playing this out for as much fear porn as they can get out of it. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Milk it for all it's worth, because it's the one thing that's clear over the last 2 years is that like the propaganda has totally taken over, and the propaganda itself is polarized and sort of like arguing with itself. Like you got left, right propaganda everywhere. It's like, and each with their own agenda, everything under control. And the alt media is central to this, like, because, look, when they can co-opt politicians, when they can co-opt anybody they like, well, I'm talking about say the Department of Defense in America, or some of these like the MI5s, MI6s, like when they start to come down, they really come down, like, and so I don't know what's going to happen with the currencies. I'm hoping that they have a sort of a solution for it, and I don't care whether it's digital or what, like as long as it fucking works, man. But to be honest, I'm not sure I'm keen on a central bank run system, because look, it's there's something wrong with their economics. Why does the currency crash every 10 years? And each crash worse than the last. 2008 was a pretty heavy one. Like it was heavy enough. Like, but this one looks like it's going to be exponentially bigger. So it seems to me that the longer they try to hold on to this reserve currency idea that the dollar has to be the reserve, I think the more it's going to fail. And but if it takes another 10 years, it takes another 10 years. Maybe they're just really stubborn and they think they can pull this off. So who knows? Anyway, nothing we could do about it. That's for sure. We could talk about it and speculate, but as far as figuring anything out, or you'll always have like you'll always be left in a state like where you can't figure anything out, and this is precisely how it's all designed, and it's perfect. It's perfect because do you know what? It keeps everybody destabilized. You can't formulate a proper opinion about things because you've always got like two opposing sets. It doesn't matter whether it comes to war commentary or commentary of what we should be doing if there's a pandemic. So one of the cool things I found over the last 2 years is like this idea of like they've turned this idea of like dealing with a pandemic into on Monday, let's deal with it. On Tuesday, no, let's not deal with it. On Wednesday, yeah, let's deal with it. On Thursday, no, let's not deal with it. And so on and so forth. And that's what we got like from sort of like NGOs that I would have had a certain amount of faith in. I didn't realize that like the likes of the WHO and the CDC, never knew that they were so badly compromised, and it's nuts, like because I always grew up thinking that like the likes of the WHO would actually step in, like if there was a mass break, at least we'd have the WHO, and they'd know what to do, So obviously they know what to do, and it's got nothing got to do with keeping people safe. So whatever agenda they're playing, and obviously they were on the obviously they were planning on this multipolar world order. So America are not leaving Eurasia. They're not going to do it, and I see that as a good thing. This is actually very, very positive. Okay, it means that there's still a balance of power. You know, I think as long as that balance of power remains, we'll get through a lot of shit. You know, we definitely will get through a lot of fucking shit. Like as long as that balance of power is retained. But if that balance of power is disturbed, you know, fucking things can get fucking crazy very, very quick. And so hopefully, like, because like I'm pretty sure, like, the likes of your Bidens and stuff like that, they're not in control. That poor fucker, man. Actually, he's he's walking around in circles, right? He's walking around in circles. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He was caught there again the other day. He was at this event, and he was calling out the names of some of the senators that he wanted to praise and were doing a good job. And he came to this woman called Jackie Kolowilski or something like that. I can't remember her name rightly. And but anyway, she died last month, I think it was, in a car crash. Two of her aides, right? She died in a crash 2 months ago. I think it was August it happened. And I'm sorry if I butchered her second name. Not much I can do about it now at the moment because it doesn't matter. Like the fact of the matter is, here was Biden. He was on stage there today, or maybe it was yesterday. It doesn't matter. And he starts calling out for her, Jackie, Jackie, are you here? Stand up, Jackie, are you here? And he's calling out the name of a dead woman, and he would have known. He would have known that senator was dead, right? No doubt, man. He's gone. Biden is toast. I don't know who's running the country, and I hope it's in steadier hands, you know, than how it's sort of like portrayed to us on the media, how it is, you know, because it just looks like it's a clown show, you know. That's why I'm thinking the USA is in safe hands. That's what I'm thinking, and as long as the United States stays safely intact, well, you know, I'm pretty sure they'll get through this fucking shit as well too. And we do not want to be run out of China and Israel and Russia. We don't. It's like, we've got a fucking crappy system. It just needs to be fixed. You know, at the end of the day, it needs a lot of these institutions need reform, like possibly NATO. I don't want to. I don't know, but like, there definitely should be some reform anyway. So clearly, like a lot of these organizations have been corrupted, like like your CDC. You can't get there. You know, I know we laugh about NASA and never a straight answer, like, but that's equally appropriate to the situation with the CDC. Totally co-opted. You know, every day different story. And no wonder people are losing their minds. You know, no wonder. Anyway, I'll keep going a little bit. In the chat, I'll catch up a little bit after that bit of a rant. Spanish chicken saying, I think the pipes are fusion welded together on the ship to join the legs. Hard job to repair it at 200 meters of depth. Right, okay, fusion welded. That's a term I'd never heard before, Spanish. Fusion welding, interesting. Scara saying, yeah, did a load of butt fusion and electrofusion pipework for Thames Water at Spanish. So Scara knows a little bit about the topic too. Yeah, indeed, Spanish. Yeah, if the pipe is full of water, definitely, like, yeah, because like if I was reading your post correctly, right, it'd be fusion welded at the it'll be fusion well out of the water, basically. So they'd lift the pipe up somehow, and that'd be the way you'd have to go. You'd have to work your way along. So like from the point of the break, you'd be able to repair it, say, from one side, and then have to lay a whole new set of pipes along that route. If I'm reading you correctly, I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I'm just I'm trying to get my mind around because we do have quite knowledgeable people in the chat, like, and always should be paid attention to. Spanish is saying they might blow out if they fit a valve. Still a fucking tough job, though. Zelensky is that desperate, he's sniffing his way up the white line on the main road to Berlin. Good man, Kendo. Yeah, certainly has lots of interesting rumors about the white stuff from that department. What's this now? More on the pipes. The plastic liner they use to seal old pipes force that through with compressed air. Okay. Interesting. Lots of pipe talk, lots of pipe talk. I thought I moved on from there a little bit. So, hey, you Weefy man. Weefy's didn't say hello to you earlier. Weefy's talking about the ISO 222 tokens. I've heard of them, like, you know, I've heard of them, like, so, but I don't know much about them. So, ISO 222, that's a protocol, by the way, folks, for anybody who doesn't know. So the lads are having a chat about crypto in there. Yeah, clearly I've missed an awful lot of comments here, so I must have been rambling on a very, very long time. Tony's they're still having to talk about pipes in here. I'm finished with the pipes, man. Finished with the pipes. So, oh, I look who I see down here. Good man, Robert.
Hey, Jim.
Hold on a second now. Why have I got no audio?
You can't hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can everyone hear me?
I can't hear you, Robert. So, is it just me, chat room, or is it?
Can everyone hear me in the chat?
Are you there yet?
Hang on, it might be me.
Yeah, I'm getting no audio in at this end at all from you. So there's something off.
So you guys can hear me, but Jimmy can't.
Oh, so everybody is hearing you, Robert. So it's me that can't hear you. What the fuck's going on there? You hold the fort there while I'm having a look in the background and see what the hell's going on. Cheers.
Hey, gang, how are we all? Yeah. So Jimmy can't hear me. That's great. I can say what I like about him now. So, did you all enjoy the show the other night? That random show I put on. Are you back, Jimmy? Can you hear me now? No, maybe not. Nin saying, "Look, Jimmy, log off and then on again." Yeah. Did you enjoy the show the other night? That was a random one, wasn't it? Oh, I can hear. I thought I could hear myself then, Jimmy. Let me say hello to everyone. So hello to Nin, hello to Uni, Jerry, hello Ken, Dinny, Paula, Tony, Snake, Stewie, Spanish. Who else have we got here? Miss Blue, James. I think I said Paula again. Yeah. SW Boxing. That's a new one. Interesting. Hello. And of course, hello to everyone who's watching the replay. Weefy Man. Weefy was talking about some cryptocurrencies there. So there you go.
I've seen that, yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now, Jim. You got me now.
Yeah. It was, I had the volume turned down on the friggin' headset, man. And
I see.
I was doing a lot. Yeah. It's not something I normally go near, but I was doing a good bit of testing over the last few days. So it's just one of these things, you know.
So I was going to say to you about one thing. Remember what we were talking about last week, the Shemitah.
Yeah.
So what did happen? Let's think about it. What's happened? We've had that pipeline, haven't we? Right. That's one thing.
The British pound. The British pound.
The banks nearly collapsed. They nearly went completely under. I mean, let's not. That I don't think that people understand how bad that really got. That nearly went boom, zero.
I've been hearing that like money is leaving London.
Well, it would appear that way. And I've just read a Reuters report that Germany has just borrowed 200 billion, and the banks haven't. The markets haven't responded anywhere near the same.
Didn't they give Zelensky 400 billion last week?
Did they?
Only messing. I don't know, but they've given him so much money. No, it wouldn't surprise me either.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But there was some bad things that were happening in this Shemitah ending or end of their Shemitah year or whatever it is. So
it's Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the end of the Shemitah is a 7-year cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
So but the Rosh Hashanah is a 50-year cycle.
Oh, right. And was we on that? Was we on one of those as well?
The 24th was Rosh Hashanah. So how significant that is, I don't know. All I know is on the 24th, the British pound started dropping like fucking crazy.
Nina's saying this mini budget has cost roughly around £7,000 for each person in the UK, I heard. Wouldn't surprise me.
It might as well be 7 fucking trillion the way it's going.
Yeah, it makes no difference. You know what, Jimmy? I don't know what you think of this. There's a lot of use cash. Cash is king, and all this sort of business. I mean, the way they're printing the money, it's going to be worthless, isn't it? We're getting like the Mylar Republic.
Yeah, the Weimar Republic.
Or Weimar, even. That's the one. Thank you.
It is. Yeah, this is our moment in the sun. I believe it looks like it, and
other countries have had to deal with this, with currencies devaluing. Some of these third world countries and like Argentina have been suffering inflation for years, haven't they? And what about Lebanon? I mean, did you see what was going on in Lebanon? People are actually going into the banks with guns now and demanding their cash.
Yeah, I seen that there's a lot of that going on there. In fact, like there's been several robberies like that, and like taking hostages and everything. So it's yeah, Lebanon is in a bad state. Like, but then again, like it's just a little bit further ahead of us. You know, you know that's what's coming to us. You know, and
it's really
it's
bad
not
over there.
fair.
My sister's married to a Lebanese man. They live in Spain, and he's obviously still got family out there. It honestly, life is rough there. It's really tough and rough. You know, you can't get medicine, you can't get your money out of the banks now. The banks are all starting to shut now. I mean, didn't they shut a load of banks in Ireland recently, Jimmy?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening here is that Ulster Bank are getting out.
That's
So
right. Yeah, I
yeah,
heard something like that.
that's right. Yeah. So we've had a look. At the end of the day, most of these banks should have failed donkeys years ago. Um, the system has been finished for a very long time. It just won't stop moving. That's the problem. If it could make it stop move, we'd be fine. You know.
Yeah.
It's clearly failed. Keynesian economics is even the guy who came up with it, like I believe, said on his deathbed, it'll never work. And we're seeing the results of it now. You know, we are this fractional reserve thing. It's like it's grown legs of its own. Really, it's become some sort of like a monster that's dying and it's trashing around at the moment. Like, and you know, all you can do is duck and fucking cover.
Yeah. And did you also the other one? I posted it. I don't know if I did post it actually. I might have done, or it was on Hugo Talks. I mean, a lot of people are a bit about Hugo, but he posted a thing about the BBC statistician who committed suicide. Have you heard about that?
No.
Let me get it up for you. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Let me have a look. So, a lady called Danielle Cornish. Yeah, she worked. She got a secondment at BBC News about how to pitch stats and influence people. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this was in July 2019. I started my 3-month secondment at the BBC as a consultant statistician. I help my journalists with much anything relating to data and stats. And she goes on, you know, talking about this. Well, she's turned up like she's suddenly committed suicide. And, you know, only last month there was a photo of her, or she was like jogging around as happy as Larry, whoever Larry is. So, yeah, it's all a bit dodgy, it seems. You know, you wonder
Did
what.
she shoot herself? Did she shoot herself 3 times in the back of the head? Was it?
Well, I don't even know how she committed suicide, if I'm honest with you, but she was only 29. So it's a, you know, it's a bit. There's definitely some sort of story there, isn't there? I'd say. You know,
Yeah.
you work for the BBC. You were paid to like fiddle the stats and the figures.
But you see, but sometimes though, a suicide is just a suicide. You know, and it's like when the universe is as random and chaotic as it is, like, you know, it's you know, you're never going to know. You'll always go to, when you're thinking on that level, like, you know, because I'd be thinking the same way when I start seeing lots of big knobs, say, like connected to Gazprom. There's a very, very long list of them growing over the last couple of months, like big money men in Gazprom and their wives murder suicides and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that going on at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
A lot of there's a lot of covering up going on, and I'm not sure if it's if it's any worse than it always was, or you know, has it maybe it's always been this bad and this has been going on all the time, but because we're hypersensitive to it all now, that like your imagination just goes rampant, you know, when it's like, oh God, Putin must have done it, you know, it's like, it had to be.
Yeah. And I noticed Nins pointed out today that BBC News was a joke today. They were reading out tweets to Coolio today, you know, because Coolio died. He was 59.
Oh, I heard about him, yeah.
Anyone who doesn't know who Coolio is, he's a rapper, and he did his biggest hit was Gangster's Paradise, I think it was.
He's gone to the great gangster's paradise in the sky now.
He's gone to meet the big BIG, hasn't he? And all those others.
There'll be drink and prostitutes on the clouds, no harps on his cloud.
Are you talking about your house again, Jimmy?
I wish.
Did you catch me show, Jimmy, on Wednesday? Did you catch me show?
Yeah, did you not catch me in there?
I did see you in there a bit. I thought, did you just go quiet? And you didn't you didn't come to the after show.
I do come in. I just say hello to everybody, and
yeah, I know. I saw that.
A bit of a natter, and then I just listen to it in the background. Once I've done I have my familial duties to take care of, which means sort of like coming in and speaking well to everybody and saying hello, how he's all doing, he's blah blah blah. Hello. Is that you done? You know, and then I can rest and then sit back and listen, and maybe the odd time I might type a little.
There was a really good after chat as well, because I know. Did you do an after chat? Because when I came back from, no, I didn't think so. Because when I came back from Leo's Hair, I actually tried to jump in and noticed that there was no one there, and then I looked at the last bit of the show and saw there was no after chat posted, or to join or what have you.
Yeah, it wasn't a conscious thing that I'd done. It just I didn't consciously just go and not have open up the after chat. It just happened. I wanted to get off. I was tired, and
you did look tired, man. You did look tired. You've been. I don't think people realise it. If you're working as well and you're doing this and then you're researching and everything, it's not easy to keep your energy levels up. Look what's happened to Jason. Poor bastard.
I know. It's that's what happens when you get run down, and you get hit even fucking harder when the time comes, when it's your turn to have your, whether it's you call it the flu or a biological clean out, whatever you want to call it, like it's when it hits, fucking hits.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, and it's interesting because the thing is, a lot of people, are starting to get a little bit ill, and it's easy to forget that we've lost that lovely sun, all that vitamin D that we were all getting, and there's a lot of power in that sun. If you're out in that sun, it's really boosting your immune system, and that's disappeared now. And then on top of that, we're all turning on the heating, and we're not getting as much fresh air and what have you. So there's so many different things. I mean, I've really upped my vitamins at the moment, especially, I wasn't taking vitamin D. I'm back on it now, so it's really easy to like forget that you do need to up your levels when we change over seasons.
Yeah. Well, it's always hit and miss with me. Like, sometimes I take care of myself, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just couldn't be arsed. But lately I've been extra tired now because I have these other little, because like started off on the web page, right? It took me about a week to configure the servers around it. That was another week. Then there's the web page, and then there's the research, and then there's the I have to go to work as well. And
yeah, of course you do.
And then there's the 2 hours on a Tuesday, and there's the 2 hours on a Friday. So,
yeah.
I've been doing a lot more. So yeah, I've been feeling it actually. I've been feeling it, and
I'm not surprised. And and it's all very well that people post comments, and say, perhaps try and do this and try and do that. Well, if no one's tried presenting the show and being on your own, or just trying to, give some news and be there because Jason's isn't there. It's not easy, is it, Jimmy? It really isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's easy to see sometimes how you end up like in a situation where you just get really ill, like, and it does happen. And
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, we had a good chat after show as well. After the happy hour, there was about six people, I think, in the after chat on Wednesday, and it was great because it gave people an opportunity to feel like they were down the pub, having a chat amongst themselves.
The virtual pub.
Yeah, it was. It's like a virtual pub, isn't it? Because and people, were having a smoke. Some people were having a drink. Some people were just drinking tea.
1 minute, Robert. You hold the fort.
Yeah, you carry on. Yeah, so if you didn't see the show, everyone, it was I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, it was just an hour, but it was an hour of fun, an hour of silliness, and an hour of positivity. So we've all got our different styles, and I just try and like to give you something different, maybe from Jason and from Jimmy, really. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, Dinny was in there chatting up all the girls. Yeah, he loved it. He loved it. So was Taylor. Taylor was in there as well. So if anyone, next time we do a show, please join us. You can just chat. You don't have to. You can just be in the chat room again if you want. But please join us. I thought it was a great vibe. I really did, and it was something that I decided to put together really last minute. I was out shopping on Wednesday, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a show. I'm just going to do, and I came up with this crazy idea to do the happy hour. I used to watch the legendary Tommy Boyd, who was a DJ, and he's still about. I'm sure he's still alive. And he used to do a great show called Man Off the Street. And what he would do is he would literally go and get somebody. And he was a BBC DJ at the time. I remember listening to him. And he used to get someone off the street. He would go outside his studios and then literally grab someone and say to them, do you fancy coming in and letting me interview you and just talk about your life, where you're from, a little bit about your history. It was so good. It really was. And you'd get these random people just coming on and telling their life stories, because as we all know, we've all got a story. And again, I would say, people, come on, if you can even come on and not show your face. You can do anything you want. You can just, even on this show. Hey, Jimmy, we're always, we'd welcome anyone to jump on if they wanted to jump on. Oh, hello, Kitty. I see that Kitty's joined us. Kitty was in there as well on Wednesday. She was there, Robert, did you get a shag today? No, I didn't. No, not today. No, maybe later if I'm really lucky.
Be a good boy.
But yeah, it was a great show, and but I left them to it. I just, again, see, I didn't have to be there. It was just to set it up, and I left about 6 people just chatting away. I think the last comment I heard was, "Thank fuck he's gone," which was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always do that, whenever I have people over at my place, right, when they leave, I shut the door and I always say very loudly, "Thank fuck Dave gone." And Taylor's saying not everyone has a story. Well, yes, Taylor, but you're talking about yourself there. You rarely leave your bedroom, Taylor. Come on.
What's Dinny like? Didn't he start to sound like Uni?
Didn't he starting to sound like Uni? Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's getting a bit sexual. He's probably a bit frustrated, Jimmy. He's probably living in that forest. You know what it's like, lurking.
Yeah.
There's always a polar bear, Dinny, I'm sure, or something you can shag. You can shag Jimmy, Robert. Well,
yeah, so
we're a bit far, aren't we, Jimmy, from each other, mate?
Don't. Is the modern way to do it not on video sex and stuff like that? Is that not?
Yeah, we could get a headset, couldn't we, Jimmy?
Yeah, VR.
VR.
Isn't that the thing now?
Oh, I know what I was going to say to you as well. Why don't you get one of these cameras and that? What do you think of my sound and my? That's a plug-in, Jimmy, into the USB port. Would that make any difference? Would that improve your things? 20 quid, mate.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. I have. There is a mic on this camera, but I have intended. I'll have to get a mic as well, anyway. So.
Well, what do you think of my? This is the built-in mic on the camera. I mean, every time I've most people say that it sounds fine and it looks good. It's a 1080p camera, and the microphone. I mean, does it sound good to you?
It sounds like a microphone. It's like it doesn't matter what microphone you use. It's like it's how you configure your audio rack and set your levels. And
I'm just wondering whether you literally bought one of these and plugged it in, whether it might help improve.
I'll test it out. I have a mic on the camera. I just haven't used it. I just used a headset, because
who else uses a headset? Cookie does, doesn't he? He uses a headset. I think he's got a Bluetooth one, hasn't he?
I have no idea what he's got, but all I know is I used a headset because you have to, you have to.
Yeah.
Why do you not use? What do you use? Have you got a speaker there in the background?
I've got my hi-fi on.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. But so, if ever there's any echoes in the future, we'll know you're a possibility anyway. So.
Well, I keep it down pretty low, So it's so that so you shouldn't get any feedback or anything like that. So, and again, I think the microphone's pretty good at being able to work with it. But you can always, again, I've also got a Bluetooth speaker that if I wanted, I could plug into my computer here as well. Because my computer is literally just here. I've got a desktop. It's not a laptop. It's a proper desktop. Maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. But you've got a different setup altogether, haven't you, Jimmy? So.
Yeah. I've got an open source Linux system, so that's.
Yeah, you've got Linux, haven't you?
Yeah. But it's quite powerful. It's and it's very easy to configure it. Well, easy. It's like, there's very little of it that you can't configure yourself. Put it that way.
Jimmy, what have you been doing this week? Anything interesting this week? Have you been in the garden? Been working in the garden at all? What's been the jobs this week?
Well, the jobs this week was mostly working on sound and sound quality. I had my few days at work. I've done a couple of days at work as well too. So it's winding down now this time of the year. Like as the temperature drops,
we're
starting to see a slowdown in the growth of all the plants. Like you can see, autumn is coming along because the leaves are starting to senesce. When they start to change color and as.
Have you put your heating on yet? I put my heating on once this week.
Yeah,
I did it once.
Yeah, I have it on now at the moment now because it's getting cold now. It's getting cold. So
yeah, I'm sure that everyone's finding out whether their heating is working or not. Apart from Dinny, because he's got a whole forest for heating, isn't he?
When he's cold, he just grabs a polar bear and goes under the covers with it, nice and snuggy. And just imagine the polar bear in between Dinny and Uni. You'd be there petting the polar bear.
Tony, come on, Tony. There's a meme there for you.
That's good.
We've set him off now, Jimmy.
Uni was there petting the polar bear's head, like, and Uni's head in the polar bear's mouth. Oh yes, these animals, they're lovely little creatures, you know. We sit and pet them all day long. All the putty cats and all the doggies and all the squirrels, and we pet them.
I pet them. He loves petting those animals, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he does indeed. He's a real environmentalist for sure.
See what Spanish is saying here, look. It looks like Robert has a flat earth map wrapped around a ball in silver behind him. That Spanish, let me tell you, actually, I got that for my 50th birthday as a present, and I always wanted one because my geography's never been good. But what that actually did as well was really make me question the shape of the earth. And I don't believe it is that shape personally now. So, but if anyone ever comes in, I want to talk to them about the subject. It's actually a good way to talk about it and to explain why I feel differently about the possible shape of the earth. You know, because you can give a good example, you know, where you can spin it, you know, and talk and say, why do you think the water doesn't, you know, just fly off and like get a tennis ball, put some water on it and spin that and see the water fly off. And then I'll spin my little globe and say, oh, it's a big globe actually, and say, why do you think that the water doesn't spin off there, you know, and stuff like that, you know. So there's all sorts of things. So yeah, I can say, and I have got actually, Dinny, I have got Spanish. I have got another flat Earth map, and I've got to put it up somewhere. Actually, I've got a proper flat Earth map. I've got, you know, the
GB. Read the bottom.
I forget the name of the one that I've got. It's the one that most people have got. What's Nick saying? Read the bottom of that globe, Robert. Does it say not for educational purposes?
Yeah.
Listen, Nick, you get an education if you come into my flat. I'm telling you. You really do. Jimmy, what did you do with that little nettle leaf you found the other day? Hey, what have you done with it? Hey?
The which?
The nettle leaf. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I accidentally smoked some of it.
I accidentally smoked some.
I was sitting there and minding my own business, man. I was just, I just rolled a cigarette, and when I took a puff, like it says, I'd noticed that on the counter it had grabbed itself and plucked itself up into little pieces and put itself into the tobacco.
It didn't.
So, it did. I tell you.
That's a clever plant, isn't it?
Yeah. It could be fairies, though. It could be fairies.
Maybe it's those Irish leprechauns.
Irish leprechauns, yeah. Very small ones now, mind you. They were smaller than the average leprechaun.
And did it make you feel a little bit funny smoking?
Oh yeah. There's a bit of it there, right? Yeah, it tastes nice. It's not like your really heavy types that you get. Like it's really mild. It's
not that I would say, you know, put it in a glass container and burp it twice a day. I wouldn't know anything about that, you know, just to improve it and dry it out properly.
Yeah.
You know,
indeed. That's
just for 20 minutes twice a day. You know, that's all.
What's the term that's used to describe that process? It's called.
Well, it's called burping.
Burping. No, is it got a better name? Burping.
That's what I call it.
Oh God, what is it they call that process, like, for the drying process?
Someone will know. Tony will know. Tony will know.
I'm pretty sure.
Tony will know.
Naz, not the boring bastards again.
We're Jason.
Yeah, absolutely right. It is. It's not the boring bastards.
It is the boring bastards again, Naz. Sorry, mate. But it's the
Yeah,
boring bastards that are a little bit healthier than Jason.
yeah. Well, that's asking. You missed because like we did. We mentioned it all at the start of the show, but like suffice it to say, Jason is not feeling very well, and he's going to be recovering for a bit of time after a really serious encounter with a deadly pathogen.
Yeah, he's just basically under the weather. We don't know what it is, but he might be back Tuesday. He may be back Tuesday. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. It's like he did look like pretty shook, right? Put it that way. He looked pretty shook. And,
yeah, he did. He looked pretty bad. He looked pretty bad.
You could tell that like he was struggling, and he did brighten up a little bit through the course of the conversation there on Tuesday night. He did brighten up a little bit, but still, you can tell that like left to his own devices and without interaction, like he'd be totally exhausted, So
Nubian.
Yeah, Newbing. There is a relationship between Nettles and. No. It's is it? No, hold on. Nettles are part of a different family. The tomato plant and the ganja plant and the potato plant, they're of the same family, which is the family name is called Solanum. So basically potatoes, ganja, ganja and tomatoes, same family.
Yeah. Jimmy, you got a different hat today. How many hats have you got, Jimmy? Come on, confess.
Yeah, loads of hats. You can never have enough hats.
I'm not really a hat man.
This is my Chinese sports model here, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps out about 98% of the UV light spectrum, and it's brilliant, man. These are the only hats that I wear out in the sun, man, because they really do work. They keep the UVs off the top of the head. If you're wearing a normal hat, like you get very, very muggy and you sweat a lot.
Nah, Jimmy, this is a solar panel for a sex machine, mate. It has to get as much sun as possible.
Yeah, well, good luck with that now over the coming months.
Yeah, I know. I have got behind me is my sad lamp. But actually, I don't know why they call it a sad lamp, because it makes you feel happy, actually. My sad lamp is one of these lamps that, give out the same sort of energy and gives you vitamin D. There you go. And if you can tell, it gives a good backlight, doesn't it, Jimmy? Don't you think? My backlight is pretty good. Look, if I go back like that, no, you can't see it. I've got it a bit forward now.
So, anything else stirring over in your part of the world lately? Anything interesting? Anything exciting? Or
no? The tomato. I'm still gardening in my partner's garden. We've still got loads of tomatoes coming on, which is great. And I've been making a lot of soup recently. I'm getting into soup. You can definitely tell it's getting cold. Soup is so easy, isn't it, to make? I didn't realise.
Yeah, it is. Like you don't need that much time
to make. I was thinking also that maybe I might do a show on free food. Like been picking lots of apples, free food that you can just is it chestnuts and stuff like that? All sorts of things.
Don't you have to
you
be careful?
Should know that. You should know a lot about that, Jimmy.
You need to be careful with chestnuts, don't you?
Do you? I don't know.
Yeah, you need to be careful with chestnuts.
Go on, why?
Because they're poisonous to us. There is a certain type. I think the Spanish chestnut is edible.
Oh, so right, okay.
Yeah, but do be careful with chestnuts.
Yeah. And it's mushroom season, isn't it, as well? We have to be very careful with those.
I found over the last 15 to 20 years, the availability of mushrooms is just it's just gone. They're unavailable anymore. Whether it's the feed that they're giving the land, because these days farmers go out, they use chemical feeds for their grasslands, and so possibly that's
Nays is a forager.
Yeah,
you should
cool,
come on, Nays, and tell us a bit about it. Come and tell us what's the forage,
But yeah, foraging though is tricky. It's not something that you can tell to forage, because with foraging you have to understand, you have to have good reference material for a start, and because you have a lot of plants which kind of look alike but they're not alike, so you need to be able to tell the difference between the plants, and there's steps you can take to identify whether a plant is safe or not, like whether it's the actual plant you're looking for or not, or mushroom, all based on like characteristics. So you need good pictures, you need good detailed descriptions. A radio show or perhaps if it was like well organized with videos and everything, it could be done, but I'd imagine what you get from just talking about foraging, you might get a general idea. You'd maybe get a general idea of the various different types of plants, but you wouldn't be able to help with like identification of plants.
I think it's something that you've got to practice, isn't it? It's not something that that's.
Well, you got to have good. You got to know what you're looking for a start. It's not so much testing it out. You need good reference material. I definitely wouldn't advise anybody to mess around with plants, because even though a plant might look the same, sometimes it can be very, very tricky to tell plants apart, and I could describe a few instances, but take my word for it, it's not easy to identify plants, and so reference material and good reference material, and even then, be careful.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, going back to Spanish, I just want to, because Spanish doesn't go into the Telegram chat, and there's I just want to share. There was something in our Telegram chat, one of the last posts, and I'm just going to share it. Where is it? Window, Telegram. There it is. So I'm just going to share it now. I don't know if people can see it. Can you see that? Look. It says 40 people missing after first flat earth surfing championship.
Did you see I used that as the thumbnail for the show?
I did, and that was brilliant.
Yeah. The flat earth.
We want to put the link up, Jimmy. Do you want to put the link up? You've got 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, I've got lots of time, man. Lots of time.
See if anyone wants to. Shall I do the invite?
Whatever you want, bro. Whatever you want. As I say, like Robert, I didn't do a huge amount now tonight. I was like, I had a few stories there, but the rest are long. I would have needed 2 hours really to cover them. Like the rest.
It's fine. It's Friday night, isn't it? It's what it is. It's and if anyone wants.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah. Isn't it about time that Spanish jumped on? The chicken jumped on.
Don't hassle them, man. Come on, if they fucking feel like then.
Oh look, well you can guess who has turned up.
No. Uni, go away tonight. Not interested now tonight at all. Go away, and talk to you in private about it.
Anyone else want to come on? He's gone.
Robert, let's just stop now. Okay, now people might think that's nasty, but it's not nasty, right? And
I'm not. Listen, you're managing the show tonight, Jim. I'm not me.
Yeah, and I don't want to be in the same room as Uni now tonight. Thank you.
That's absolutely fine.
And I'll have a little chat with you, Uni, in a day or two. Not serious, man. Just not tonight.
Yeah. But no, other than that, I've just been doing that, and So just trying to learn how to make soup, and just trying to finish all the vegetables from the garden from the summer and everything. I've still got cucumbers growing as well.
Yeah, you should have. They'll grow right up until the frosts come. They're very tender to frost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they should. All those plants should be good to go right up until the frosts arrive. And
I've ordered some more stock to make my salves. I'm making another batch of salves. I just ordered some more beeswax and stuff like that because the salve's starting to move a bit, which is great.
What do you use beeswax for?
It goes into the salve. It's part of the salve that I make, Jimmy. Beeswax.
Okay. Beeswax is it's a very heavy resin. It's very compact resin.
It is. It is. But when you mix it also with coconut oil and other oils like olive oil and things like that, it works really, really well. But yeah, I'm getting some really good feedback from people, and
what does
it helps.
Do in the mixture? What's role is it for?
I beg your pardon?
The role of beeswax in your formulas, like what role does it play? The beeswax.
I think it's really like a stabilizer to keep it actually stable, and I mean it's a natural product. I get all natural beeswax. It's all organic beeswax, and so everything I use is nearly all organic anyway. But yeah, it acts as a stabilizer but what you can do, anyone who's ever bought it, I forgot to tell people this, if you take it out of the jar that it comes in, you could actually whisk it and make it into more of a cream rather than a salve, because a salve is like it's like a harder gel. I mean, look, you can tell. I mean, if I like just try and show people there like that, okay, and it's so you can see it's quite a, you see, Jim?
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
It's quite it's a little bit waxy and everything.
So when you're making the cream, so that's the cream version of it, is it?
If you want to make it into cream, you would just like take it like maybe a big spoon out, get your whisk, and then just whisk it, and then suddenly it turns into a cream. That is pretty solid in there. That's quite solid.
Okay, I see what you mean. Right.
That's what salve is. It's quite solid, but a base mix of salve always contains beeswax. It always contains beeswax. So I'm getting, it's starting to come together. I'm testing. I've just ordered some new essential oils as well. So someone's given me some tips about some essential oils, and one of the ones I'm adding to it, I've just found some essential oil. Neroli oil. Have you heard of neroli oil, Jimmy?
I'm just wondering, is it not a bit dangerous putting all these compounds together? What if something goes boom one day and obliterates the universe? Yeah, mistakes happen,
The only booming that is happening is people saying that it's really helping relieving their pain, Jimmy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, when Jason was on, he said that AD is using it now because AD bought some, and he had a bad shoulder, and he said it's really helping him. So, all my family who I give it to have reported back to me and said that it's really helped them. I've got a neighbour who I think you might not have heard this, but he gives me some free diesel, Jimmy. He gave me like this massive tank of diesel because he works like as a digger driver. So his work's got loads of diesel. He said to me, "Do you want some diesel?" I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, great." And he gave me this diesel. I don't know how many liters it was, Jim. Honestly, it's got to be about 25, maybe 30 liters of diesel. And he goes, "When you've used that," he said, "just tell me." He said, "and I'll get you some more." So I gave him some myself, and he said to me, he said, "Oh, that's brilliant." So do you know what? See, it's already started, isn't it? This new currency, we're exchanging stuff. You know,
did you see that one there where this couple, they live on an island, they're self-sufficient, and they do all sorts of interesting projects, like adding like recycling and like living with nature and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he was making petrol from old plastic. Like he gathers because it's an island. All this plastic waste washes up on the beaches, and he goes, collects it all, and cooks it down into a liquid and filters it like you would like. It goes through a series of in a pipe. It just has a way of working its way through a pipe, and it comes out the other end as fucking petrol. All you need to do is cook it and have a couple of filtration points along the line. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah. It's there's so many things out there to easily make fuel and things like that. So I've got. Did you see? I've got my new power bank now, Jimmy.
I've seen that. Yeah. Big monster thing.
Big monster thing. Yeah.
How long will that keep you going? How long will that keep you going for in a power down situation?
Well, it really depends on what you're using. Like, for example, I can. What was more important was the fact that I can keep the freezer on, because your freezer can be full of food worth maybe £200 or something.
Yeah. Good point. So you could keep that freezer going for how long then?
I reckon that freezer would go for at least about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours with that power bank, and then I can charge it. Now that'll keep it cold, and then if it runs down, I can then plug it into the car if I wanted, and then charge it up again. Now it's not the best way, it's not the most economical way, but if I'm getting free diesel, it's charging.
Right, I see what you mean. It's how long does it take to charge? How long does it take to charge?
An hour and in the mains, it only takes an hour and 20 minutes. It's a 1700 watt. It will hold it's one of the best on the market. It did cost a lot of money. I'm not going to lie. It cost a lot of money, but for me, it's an investment because I live in a flat, and I just want to make sure that I can keep the lights on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I need to keep those, and I need to keep the freezer on, and I can run my air fryer on it as well, by the way. And
I wouldn't panic about anything with power down. Look, worst case scenario, it goes down, stays down. But I don't think we're at nuclear war levels just yet. I
don't think so.
I don't think there's going to be any stress on the power facilities. I think you have enough reactors over there to keep you guys going. I have a feeling these power outs and stuff, it's just fear porn, man, at the end of the fucking day. And just treat it as such, I think, that's just my opinion now, Robert. I know the way you think, though, just in case it'd be no harm, and...
Yeah. I mean, I don't live, it's all very well. My partner's got a garden and things like that, but I haven't. I just live in a flat. Which faces, it's north facing. I've got no windows the other side of me, so it's a bit more difficult for me. But are we going to let Spanish on, Jimmy? Are we going to see if he wants to come on? I don't know if he wants to come on.
He's probably just in for the after show. So anyway, we're down to our last.
Call it a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think thanks for coming in for the last hour, Robert. It was nice.
It's always good to catch up with you, Jimmy. Listen, remember what I did send you? If you want me to send you some salve, man.
Sure, man. But I got my back sorted again. I was working on it. I was telling you what I have to do is to keep it exercised, and so I just have to get used to the idea that I'm going to have to do these exercises all the time.
But there's nothing wrong with a bit of extra help, and if you want some, send me your address. You've got me on Telegram. You've got my private.
I will
Telegram.
indeed, Robert. I will for sure. I will.
Just send me your number and stuff like that, and we can do that. Thanks to everyone who's joined in the chat and watched the show tonight. Thanks to everyone that's that's watching the after show as well, or not watching the after, watching the playback. So, and if you like the show, put your thumbs up and hit the like button. But you're already subscribed, I'm sure, so we don't need to say that.
Guys, and I said it now. Get it out of the way. Good night, guys. And I'll get flamed after for you saying it like that. So, but thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Don't know about next Tuesday. Maybe Jason is back. Maybe he needs more time. It doesn't matter. We'll be here anyway. So, look,
we'll be here.
Enjoy the weekend and take care, everyone.
All right. Night.